to talk about this in more detail, an expert, John Krolik, from Cavs the Blog and an LA resident. So he is the perfect guy to talk to here. And apparently it is dawn in LA. How are you doing, John?
It's actually it's about 2 o'clock in Minnesota, which is where I am.
Whoa!
Unseasonably warm for this time of year, but yeah, I am indeed in White Bear Lake.
What do you make of this?
But yeah, the trade, interesting, even more so with Fisher gone. Yeah, just to sort of, Zach touched on a lot of what I wanted to touch on, just because Zach seen him with the Wolves. He had the 20-assist game with the Wolves. I don't know who that player was, but he is gone now.
He had 24 assists with the Bucks too, and I think once a year he has like a Chris Duhon game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean the Ramon Sessions who once came in and dished out 20 assists has been replaced by Razor Ramon, who attacks the basket with fury.
Just flicking toothpicks at people.
He is, exactly. That's kind of a sad story. But anyways, the question, one of the big questions for the Lakers, especially since they've traded Fisher, which I still haven't wrapped my mind around, is that Sessions has always been a bad shooter through his career, but this year he's shooting around 38 or 40% from three. So if that can hold, with him playing off the ball and doing a lot of catch and shoot, that's a big deal. But he's certainly not a guy who's a natural shooter or a born shooter. And he's not, I mean, Fisher is a guy who's been doing this for years. He's been shooting 40% or 35%, but a guy you have to guard from the three-point line for like a decade and a half. Ramon's been there for not even, basically like 30 games. That's a big difference if your crunch time lineup is out there. And all of a sudden, you don't have a guy who you can trust to knock down three-pointers or keep the defense stretched. And Lakers fans, like Zach was saying this, Lakers fans or any fans, Ramon is terrible on defense.
So bad.
He is awful. And I don't think a lot
is it an issue of effort, or why is he bad on defense? He's just out of position.
Well, people think that with point guard, he's not fast enough to guard Ty Lawson. He's not fast enough to guard Russell Westbrook. Everyone will tell you, nobody's fast enough to guard those guys. Russell Westbrook isn't fast enough to guard Russell Westbrook. All you can do is be physical with guys when you have a chance, and be smart enough to force them in the right direction into the help defense. And guess who was really good at that? Was Derek Fisher. I mean, people don't realize he was a pretty decent defender for that position during the playoffs. Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
But okay, so yeah, the big impact. Okay, they get a little more athleticism on the front line with Jordan Hill. Maybe that's a project that down the line they can do something for him. But he's not good. He's one of those guys that are like, you have to stay in college because you learn skills. He played for 3 years and he can't catch or do anything. It's just such a bunk argument. But that is neither here nor there. Sessions as a guy who can run the second
they got
unit.
Jordan Hill and Christian Ianga today.
Christian Ianga was one of those guys who last year everyone was kind of like, yeah, Christian Ianga, maybe this is going somewhere. And then now everyone's like, he is awful.
And then he apparently grew 2 inches this summer.
Just playing D-leaguers.
Yeah, he grew 2 inches this summer, and I was like, he's 6'6" now. Look out for Ianga. Yeah, he still can't play basketball. He still can't dribble a ball without it going off to some other defender.
The Cavs spent a first-round pick on a guy who's a bench warmer for essentially a D-League team in Spain.
He's a shorter Nadubi Ebi.
They didn't have
what for the Cavs? Explain the motivation here. What are they getting out of this?
A draft pick, a first-round draft pick.
That's it.
Yeah, and remember, they've got a long-term solution at point guard. They have Boobie Gibson, who they're paying $5 or $6 million for a couple more years, I think. And Ramon's making around, I think, $4 or $5, maybe $6 million this year, and he has a option for next season. So they're basically spending $10 million on backup point guards when they're point guard.
Right.
Maybe the rookie wall. He has actually been slumping a little bit recently. He didn't hit the rookie wall as hard as Rubio did.
Hey, come on.
Ooh.
That was
Whoa! Whoa!
Too soon.
way too soon.
Krolik!
No,
Way
we
too
love
soon.
you.
Dropping
Oh,
bombs.
I'm gonna go find you in Minneapolis right now and challenge you to a duel.
All right, we have a correction here that James has dropped in our little Snapchat. Woj has now tweeted, check that. The Lakers will send the Rockets its 2012 first-round pick via Dallas, which I assume is from the Odom deal, as part of this deal. So that is a little wrinkle that I guess matters. You could argue the Lakers seem to be just unloading draft picks. So maybe eventually they will be able to move Gasol and get a bunch of parts back because they still need to start reloading. John, were you surprised that that Gasol didn't get moved at the deadline?
No, I'm not. Because basically, he's a little too old for rebuilding teams to want, and you don't have a hole at the power forward or center position. It's not like, oh, we're so close, but we need a Pau Gasol to put us over the top. There are not a lot of places where it makes sense to get. I still think Pau Gasol is the best pure offensive center in basketball, where it makes sense to get a top flight center, because he's not a top forward, he's playing out of position. A top flight center on the back end of his prime, and just sort of.
What did you think about the Gasol for Deron Williams trade that didn't happen?
That would have been interesting. That would have been very interesting. I think it might have made. It's tough to imagine the Lakers playing point guard centric basketball. It still is, just because the backcourt guy who has the ball in his hands is Kobe, and at the same time, it's really weird to watch them with no Odom and so much Gasol and Bynum right now because Gasol is out of position and sort of ugly. So the Lakers are sort of funky, but you can understand why New Jersey didn't do it. They've got Lopez; he's part of the long-term plan, and I think I think New Jersey's still looking to trade for Dwight Howard.
Right.
I think that's still in play now. So that's just kind of a strange rumor. I didn't think much of it.
All right. Well, thanks for scooting in here. We got to get to some more of the news from today. Everybody, John Krolik, let's give him a round of applause. Thanks, John.